Inside is an interesting film, if you could even call it that, since it's so different than any other film you will see this year. And in a while, not only because it's good, but also since it has something that with the expectations that you have for it would be just different than what the film is actually. It has so much in it that I think everyone can love. A thing to note is that Burnham actually filmed this all in a year and directed it himself, edited it himself, and created all the music that you hear in the movie. You see his journey and how his mental state becomes over the course of a year of being in quarantine, with simultaneously showing his actual feelings that are blended in with the fictional story. I had no expectations for this film, didn't even know how or what it was about, but I came out of it amazed on everything. The cinematography and the music just compelled themselves so much. Another thing I love about this film is the room itself that it takes place in. His real home attic, and you see how creative he was making this. Not cleaning up any wires or bags because he was just creating anything. Music, a film, and a comedy. What, you might say, a comedy? Yes, this is actually a comedy special, which didn't make me laugh a lot of the time, but I still think certain people would laugh at some of the jokes he makes, with how the world is outside when there are riots and people all of a sudden became Twitch streamers. Before seeing this movie, I would say to not expect anything, go in with an open mind, because it really helps to not expect anything. It just makes the film a whole lot better. The whole movie is like multiple different segments just put together, but don't think that's a terrible thing, because it's put so well together that it makes a big narrative at the end. It really tells how Burnham thinks and feels about certain topics in this world, like the world in general, the internet, or mental health. I personally am not a very political person because, well, I'm 15 years old, but this film is very political, oftentimes on just the human race alone and what we're doing in this world. But that doesn't ruin the film or make it worse, which I really enjoyed. And also, in one of the segments of the movie, he tells us that 5 years prior he had quit comedy because of several panic attacks he had on stage, which is a real thing he did, and in January of 2020 he was planning his return. But of course, a massive pandemic had hit the world, and he couldn't do it, which eventually led to him making this film, which I find pretty amazing that a pandemic caused this man to make a whole film entirely of a year of being alone in his home. It's just an amazing film that overall captivated me in its first 2 minutes and just breathes off creativeness, which I love. With not being said enough, watch this film. It's only an hour and a half and it's on Netflix. And my final thoughts about this movie, what I have to say is that it's so crazy to me that this was made in none less in a year, but also by one person. One human on this earth created this, which I find very not only amazing but inspirational to continue to do what I'm doing, which is making funny videos on the internet while also streaming. And with that, I give Inside a 9 out of 10.